Food insecurity is a measure of the unavailability of food and individuals' ability to access it. According to the United Nations Committee on World Food Security, food security is defined as meaning that all people, at all times, have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their food preferences and dietary needs for an active and healthy life. The availability of food irrespective of class, gender or region is another one. There is evidence of food security being a concern many thousands of years ago, with central authorities in ancient China and ancient Egypt being known to release food from storage in times of famine. At the 1974 World Food Conference, the term food security was defined with an emphasis on supply. Food security is defined as the availability at all times of adequate, nourishing, diverse, balanced and moderate world food supplies of basic foodstuffs to sustain a steady expansion of food consumption and to offset fluctuations in production and prices. Later definitions added demand and access issues to the definition. The first World Food Summit, held in 1996, stated that food security exists when all people, at all times, have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. Similarly, household food security is considered to exist when all members, at all times, have access to enough food for an active, healthy life. Individuals who are food secure do not live in hunger or fear of starvation. Food insecurity, on the other hand, is defined by the United States Department of Agriculture as a situation of limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate and safe foods or limited or uncertain ability to acquire acceptable foods in socially acceptable ways. Food security incorporates a measure of resilience to future disruption or unavailability of critical food supply due to various risk factors including droughts, shipping disruptions, fuel shortages, economic instability, and wars. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, or FAO, identified the 4 pillars of food security as availability, access, utilization, and stability. The United Nations recognized the right to food in the Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, and has since said that it is vital for the enjoyment of all other rights. The 1996 World Summit on Food Security declared that food should not be used as an instrument for political and economic pressure. Since multiple different international agreements and mechanisms have been developed to address food security, the main global policy to reduce hunger and poverty is in the Sustainable Development Goals. In particular, Goal 2, Zero Hunger sets globally agreed on targets to end hunger, achieve food security and improved nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture by 2030. Food security can be measured by calories to digest out to intake per person per day, available on a household budget. In general, the objective of food security indicators and measurements is to capture some or all of the main components of food security in terms of food availability, accessibility, and utilization. Adequacy. While availability remains largely elusive, the factors influencing household food accessibility are often context-specific. Several measurements have been developed to capture the access component of food security, with some notable examples developed by the USAID-funded Food and Nutrition Technical Assistance Project, collaborating with Cornell and Tufts University and Africare and World Vision. These include: food insecurity is measured in the United States by questions in the Census Bureau's current population survey. The questions asked are about anxiety that the household budget is inadequate to buy enough food, inadequacy in the quantity or quality of food eaten by adults and children in the household, and instances of reduced food intake or consequences of reduced food intake for adults and for children. A National Academy of Sciences study commissioned by the USDA criticized this measurement and the relationship of food security to hunger, adding, "It is not clear whether hunger is appropriately identified as the extreme end of the food security scale." The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the World Health Organization, The SOFI report measures hunger. Beginning in the early 2010s, FAO incorporated more complex metrics into its calculations, including estimates of food losses in retail distribution for each country and the volatility in agri-food systems. Recent editions of the SOFI report present evidence that the decades-long decline in hunger in the world, as measured by the number of undernourished, has ended. In the 2020 report, FAO used newly accessible data from China to revise the global NU downwards to nearly 690 million, or 8.9% of the world P.